All right, diving in. Today, it's all about finding that confidence, when you're speaking English. We're going deep with this presentation script, English with confidence. And really, our goal, I think, is to give everyone listening some real tools, things you can actually use to just let go of that hesitation and speak.
Yeah, it's something we hear so much about. Learners know the words, they've got the grammar, but then there's this block, this fear of actually speaking. It's a
Yeah.
really common thing.
It really is. And this presentation, it starts in a great place. It looks at why we even feel this fear, and they break it down to
Hmm.
three main reasons. The first one, well, I think we've all been there, fear of messing up, making mistakes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're often our own worst critics, right?
Hmm.
But the presentation makes a really good point. Even native speakers, people who've spoken English their whole lives, they make mistakes too. It happens.
All the time. It's like, it's just part of speaking.
Yeah.
You're not aiming for perfect, you're aiming to communicate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes we lose sight of that. We set these unrealistic expectations, like we need to be flawless every time we open our mouths. But language, it's about connecting with people, not about being some grammar robot.
So true. And the second reason they highlight is lack of practice. I love the way they put it. You can't swim without jumping in the pool. It's so simple, but it makes you think, right?
Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It captures the whole idea that language is a skill. You can learn all the theory, but if you're not actively using it, if you're not speaking, it's like you're just standing by the pool watching everyone else have fun.
You'll never learn to swim that way. And it's the same with speaking English. The third thing they talk about, this is a big one, overthinking grammar. Oh my gosh, I even do this in my own language. You start thinking about every tense, every little rule, and it just ties you up in knots.
It really does. And, it can actually stop you from speaking altogether.
Yeah.
You get so focused on being perfect that you forget the whole point, which is just to express yourself and be understood.
Right. Communication. That's the goal. Now, they've got this fun fact in the presentation, and this one kind of blew my mind. They say a study found that 70% of English learners hesitate to speak because they're afraid of being judged. 70%.
Wow. It's a huge number. It really shows you how much of this is tied to our emotions, to that fear of not being good enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about the language itself. It's about how we feel about ourselves when we're using it.
Yeah, that fear of judgment, it can be so powerful. But knowing that so many people feel the same way, I think that's actually kind of comforting, right? You're not alone in this.
Exactly. And the good news is, there are things you can do to overcome it. And the presentation dives into some really practical techniques.
Yes, and I love this first one, the 3-second rule. Have you heard of this?
I have, yeah. It's so simple, but really clever.
It is. Okay, so the idea is when someone asks you a question in English, you try to answer within 3 seconds. You don't overthink it. You just go for it.
It's about breaking that habit of overanalyzing everything, which can really slow you down and make you feel less confident.
Totally. The example they give is perfect. Someone asks, "What's your hobby?" And you just say, "I love cooking." It doesn't have to be complicated. It just needs to get the message across. And what this does, it actually helps your brain work in a more natural way. You're not translating everything in your head. You're just accessing the English you already know.
It's like you're bypassing that internal translator and just letting the language flow.
Exactly. And they have this challenge for everyone listening. They say, try to use this 3-second rule in just 3 conversations today. That's it, just 3.
It's a really manageable goal, and even those small interactions can start to build that confidence muscle. You realize, hey, I can do this.
It's about taking action, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you start to break down those mental barriers. Okay, next technique. This one's called the shadowing technique. And I think this is brilliant for getting that natural flow when you're speaking.
Oh, this is one of my favorites. It's so effective for improving your pronunciation, intonation, even the rhythm of your speech.
So how does it work?
Basically, you find a short audio or video clip in English, something you enjoy listening to. It could be a TED Talk, a scene from a movie, anything with clear speech.
Okay, got it.
And then you listen to it line by line, pausing after each sentence and repeating what you hear. You try to match everything. The tone, the speed, even the pauses.
So you're really mimicking the speaker, like you're their shadow.
Exactly. And then, ideally, you record yourself doing this so you can compare it to the original. It can be really eye-opening to hear yourself and notice those subtle differences.
That sounds really useful, because sometimes you don't realize how you actually sound, right?
Totally. And the presentation has a great tip, especially for beginners. They recommend starting with animated movies like Toy Story.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, the pronunciation in animated films is often very clear and exaggerated, which makes it easier to follow. Plus, they're fun to watch.
Absolutely. Now, this next strategy, I think it's something a lot of people struggle with. Thinking in English. The presentation points out that if your first language isn't English, your brain might be constantly translating.
Yes, that back and forth in your head, it can really slow you down.
It's like you're adding an extra step to everything you want to say. So how do we break this habit?
Well, the presentation offers a few practical tips.
Yeah.
One is to simply describe your daily activities in English, like I'm making breakfast or I'm walking to work. Just narrate your life, even if it's just to yourself.
So basically, make English your internal soundtrack, even for the most mundane things.
Exactly. It helps to create that direct connection between thought and expression in English.
And they also suggest trying to switch your whole inner monologue to English.
That can be challenging at first, but it's incredibly effective over time. It's like you're training your brain to think in the language, which makes speaking feel so much more natural.
Yeah, that makes sense. And here's another really practical tip. They say use sticky notes to label things around your house. Like put a note on the mirror that says mirror or on the door that says door.
It's such a simple idea, but it works. You're constantly exposing yourself to the language in a visual way, and it helps to build your vocabulary for everyday objects.
It's like you're creating your own little English immersion environment right at home. Now, they have this bonus challenge, and I think it's a great one if you're feeling brave. They call it a no Hindi day. Now, obviously, not everyone speaks Hindi, but the idea is to try to spend a whole day, just one day a week, speaking and thinking only in English.
It's a pretty intense challenge, but it can be incredibly rewarding. It
Yeah.
really pushes you to rely on your English skills and shows you how much you're capable of.
It's like a full immersion day without actually traveling to an English-speaking country. Now, the presentation also has the section called Listener's Corner, and I think it's brilliant because they answer real questions from learners. And today's question is, how do you handle those awkward pauses in a conversation?
Ooh, yeah. We've all been there, right? That moment when your mind goes blank and you just don't know what to say next.
It can feel so uncomfortable. But the presentation makes a good point. Pauses are actually a natural part of any conversation, even for native speakers. It's more about how you manage them than trying to avoid them completely.
That's so important. And they offer some really helpful tips. One is to use filler phrases, those little expressions like, well, or let me think. It gives you a moment to gather your thoughts without the conversation coming to a dead stop.
It's like you're filling the space with something so it doesn't feel so awkward. Another tip they give is to ask a question back to the other person, like, what about you? Or, that's interesting, tell me more.
That's a great strategy. It takes the pressure off you to keep talking and shows that you're actively listening and engaged in the conversation.
And the last tip, this one's simple but powerful. Just smile.
Oh, yeah. A genuine smile can go a long way in diffusing any tension. It shows that you're still comfortable and confident, even if you're feeling a little flustered inside.
It's like a nonverbal way of saying, hey, I'm still here, I'm still with you, even if my words are taking a moment to catch up.
Exactly. It keeps the connection going.
And the presentation ends with an invitation for listeners to send in their own questions, which is awesome. So if there's something you're struggling with, something you'd like to hear discussed in a future deep dive, definitely reach out.
We love hearing from our listeners, and it helps us to create content that's really relevant to your needs and challenges.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of speaking English confidently, I want to leave you with this final thought from the presentation. Confidence isn't about knowing everything. It's about being okay with not knowing.
I love that quote. It takes so much pressure off. It's about embracing the journey, knowing that you're going to make mistakes, and that's totally fine.
It's about progress, not perfection. And just a quick preview of what's coming up next in this presentation series, how to understand fast native speakers. Sounds pretty useful, right?
Oh, definitely. It's a skill that takes practice, but it's essential for feeling comfortable in real-world conversations.
And apparently they'll be sharing some listening drills too, so that'll be really helpful. But before we go, I have to repeat this one more time because it's so important. The presentation reminds us, your accent is your identity. Focus on clarity, not perfection.
I think that's such a powerful message. It's about owning your voice and realizing that clear communication is more important than trying to erase your accent.
Your accent is part of what makes you unique, and that's something to celebrate, not to hide. Okay, so we want to keep this conversation going, and we want you to take some action. So here are a few little engagement boosters from the presentation. First up, a poll question. What's your biggest speaking fear? We'll share some of the responses in a future episode just to show you that you're not alone in these feelings.
It can be really reassuring to see that other people share your anxieties.
And if you have a success story to share, something you're proud of in your English speaking journey, no matter how big or small, please send it to us. We might even give you a shout out in a future episode.
We love hearing those inspiring stories, and they can be so motivating for other learners.
And lastly, here's a mini challenge for you. Record a short 30-second voice note introducing yourself in English. It's a great way to practice speaking out loud, and if you're feeling brave, you can even share it with us.
It's a small step, but it can make a big difference in building your confidence.
So, as you think about everything we've talked about today, ask yourself, which of these techniques speaks to you? What's one tiny action you can take right now to move forward on your journey to speaking English with confidence? Remember, even small steps taken consistently can lead to huge results. Thanks for joining us and keep practicing.
See you next time.